Hello and welcome to episode 245 of our SAP on Azure video podcast. Today is June 13th, and together with Gordon, we are here to talk about anything related to SAP and Microsoft. Hello, everyone. So SAP threat monitoring tools like SAP Enterprise Threat Detection enable real-time monitoring of security events in an SAP system. On the Microsoft side, we catch and track a lot of security events using Microsoft Sentinel. Luckily, there are native integrations of ETD, Enterprise Threat Detection, with Sentinel. To show us how this integration actually works, I'm happy to have Michael Schmitt from SAP and our own Martin Pankratz with us today again. So welcome. Both of you were already on the show. We had, I think, one session also before the DSAC event where we had the hands-on session, where actually I think customers could experience what you're going to show us. But just for anyone who hasn't seen this episode, Michael, maybe we can start with you with a quick introduction. What do you do at SAP?
Yeah, very short introduction. Thanks, Holger. So I'm product manager for the product SAP Enterprise Threat Detection. We have a cloud edition there, and exactly it's about the cloud edition and the integration with Microsoft Sentinel in that area. I'm at SAP since 1999, presumably, and so in the role of product management, I'm since 2018. Before I was development manager, we developed a lot, including SAP Enterprise Threat Detection. Enough for that.
Perfect. Well, great to have you again. Martin.
Very nice, yeah. Martin Pankratz. I'm part of Azure Core, also product manager, but my focus is on the product experience for the SAP workload within the product groups at Microsoft, with focus on Entra ID Defender for Cloud and Sentinel, so the whole security suite that Microsoft has. And
yeah, and in the same team.
Yeah, and the same team.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and co-engineering is one of our primary charters. And Michael Schmitt and his team are one of the coolest things to integrate with. Yeah, so that's the best of first party at the SAP side, first party on the Microsoft side, our natural fit, so to say. Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's great to have both of you. Well, Martin, you're almost a regular already. You're almost a host already. So, but it's great to have both of you here. So, yeah, what are we talking about today? Enterprise Threat Detection, Sentinel. Maybe you can give us a quick intro on these topics.
Yeah, we've prepared a couple of screens, and we will be also showing a demo, and also talk about the results from the DSAC event you just mentioned before. Yeah, so this is not something that Waldorf and Redmond invented like in a dark cellar, yeah, with no one knowing. This is actually something that was spawned by customer reactions. Yeah? Yeah, we had our first live hack end of last year, and during that we were asking the participants. We are working on integration with ETD. What do you think about that? Would you like something like that? And then the audience said, well, yeah, we want to see this in action, which then led to us doing the tech exchange, this live hands-on event in earlier this year at DSAC. And today we will be seeing the engineering results of the reactions there. Yeah. Okay, so I'll be sharing some of the screens that Michael prepared. Yeah, so as a first introduction there from here. There's also Arndt listed there. He's leading some of the the evangelization and the representation at the bigger events.
Right. He's solution owner for GRC security topics in general at SAP. Yep.
Yeah. So it's branching across the SAP security suite, so to say. All right. A couple of words here, Michael, on what ETD covers.
Yeah, exactly. So we thought about what does ETD cover and how we can provide additional value to Microsoft Sentinel at the end of the discussion. And first of all, what does SAP Enterprise Threat Detection Cloud Edition do? Holger, you mentioned it already. So it does real-time security monitoring and alerting, especially on SAP application level. And if it comes to SAP application levels, many people think about S4 systems, which is the main topic, by the way. Yeah, Why? Because SAP is the ERP company, and for sure, if it comes to security monitoring, then the S4 systems are the most important ones. But it's about, first of all, different scenarios. Yeah, we support public cloud scenarios. And the S4 systems there, the S4HANA Cloud public cloud scenarios, the SAP Business Technology Platform. We support private cloud scenarios. For sure, most of the customers has their S4HANA systems, the RISE customers, their S4HANA systems in there. But we as well support HANA database, web dispatcher, other things, as well as we do in on-prem. There we as well support the application server Java, and we have for sure any mixture of hybrid scenarios that we can do there. So in that case, oh, I see it's an animated slide. Maybe you can press the button again. And once again, sorry for that. Yeah. Then you can see that we can, with SAP Enterprise Threat Detection, support any kind of hybrid scenarios, getting the data from PCE, getting it out of on-prem, getting it out directly out of BTP, like the BTP audit log. And we as well have a managed service on that, which can be subscribed to, which helps customers, especially if they don't have the right skill set. For sure, SAP is big. That is why we have a roadmap, and that roadmap contains further integration of further SAP products that are not yet integrated, and for sure you can have a look into that roadmap. Okay.
But I guess the most important things like the S4HANA system, even on-premise systems, BTP, success factors. So it is already a tool that I can very much use because it covers most of the important SAP applications that I as a customer probably have.
It opens this SAP world in general. Yeah. So by using ETD, you can cover this I said nearly, because things are still on the roadmap, nearly this overall SAP world. And that can be then leveraged, for example, as we do it right now in the demo later with Sentinel.
Oh, and even I see here Java. So NetWeaver Java stack is also supported.
Yes, you know, it's an old stack. It's deprecated, but it's supported. Yeah, so we support I think 3 different log types out of the Java stack: a security audit log, another security log, and a business log, whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, nice.
Yeah. Maybe for me to add here, of course, we also have like our first party track for this, but the merit here is you get this is then becoming useful for ETD customers. Yeah? So if you're an ETD customer and you have a SIEM solution Sentinel, then you can profit from combining these. Yeah? And of course, we have support customer choice for ERP especially. Yeah? And to me, the interesting part is the funnel, where you have all the SaaS solutions combined in ETD, and you have them configured in ETD, and all of them go through a single connector to Sentinel. So you don't have like N connectors for N SAP SaaS systems, but you have one, where you get everything in one place. So it's an interesting use case, and we're seeing how customers and partners react to that.
Oh, I like what you just said, because actually, so you know, I'm doing a lot of Joule and Copilot stuff at the moment, and I think there it's a very similar argument, I would say. So instead of you're saying instead of Sentinel having to connect to 100 different SAP systems to get the information, Sentinel can connect to Enterprise Threat Detection, and Enterprise Threat Detection obviously knows SAP much better than what we could probably do all the time. So it connects to all the SAP systems, and then from there we get all the data, or we can get the relevant information back into Sentinel and still have then the combined knowledge, but without us needing to maintain the connections to all the different SAP systems.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the nice things is that we have, for example, in all S4HANA systems, integrated a complete extractor framework in SAP Basis. Yeah, so the log extraction framework is built in, and if you have a license, either an on-prem PCE or a public cloud license, then you just can use that framework to send the logs to our to ETD in general. Yeah, so that is a very nice thing, and by that it's made easy for the customer to install that, or because it needs not to be installed, let's say.
It's another benefit. But that's what I meant by customer choice. So we have as a platform support first-party choices, but of course also nice third-party integrations like with SAP directly here, so that the customer can then make individual connections or like the centralized one here if they like that or if that's good for them.
Yep.
Okay. Off to the next one.
I think so. Yeah.
So for everyone who's not familiar with Sentinel or the Microsoft Security Suite, one of the statements that we are always like leading with is that defenders always think in checklists. So you have long like paper lists and stuff where you want to make sure that you cover all of them, and then you can say I'm compliant, I've done all my homework, I'm protected. But the attackers don't work that way. They don't care about your checklist. They look for loopholes. They go around them. They just jump over the walls. They dig a hole under it. That's why we're saying only by moving to a graph-based mindset, you have a chance at actually catching and defending yourself. And that's why central to the unified view above all our security products, you will find a graph that correlates signals. And SAP ETD is now also feeding, or they're providing their part of the puzzle to enrich the graph so that you have more insights as a security operations center analyst and the team there to efficiently defend. And in here we're looking at the unified portal, which combines all the Microsoft security products, and Sentinel provides the SIEM, the alerting and event management part of it. And in here, for instance, you see the SAP Network Weaver and the SAP Box being providing the signals, and the cloud applications here is SAP ETD providing their like pre-processed alert to the mix. Okay, and of course the nice stuff on Security Copilot and classifications that come with going there. So yeah, I promised we will be talking about the customer evidence, DSAC customer and partner like reactions. This was in April. We ran the hackathon. Michael was there, and Arndt and the team, where we were exposing them to this, and we ran a live survey throughout the event, asking for a couple of opinions on what would be most valuable to you when you think about combining ETD and Microsoft Sentinel. And this is the result. You see, we had 18 people responding to the live survey during the event, and very interesting to us. One of the things we had already in mind that we were pursuing, where we wanted evidence on, number one over here, unified alert management. So the desire to be able to see in one place stuff that happens in ETD for your SAP system estate, and on the Microsoft side, so that you have a single place to work on them. And of course also cross-platform attack graph, what I showed just before on the screenshot. And on the similar lines, the running theme through all of these items is you want both departments, the SAP security team and the SOC team, somehow have a better understanding of each other and share data and resolve the incident together to some extent. That's why we have here shared threat intelligence, correlations across SAP user and Enter ID, and some sort of automated response were also top of mind. So here we have real tangible reaction from a good set of customers that were exposed to the solution and what they like about it.
To help shape the roadmap, what are the things that we should do, or what we have already done? Yeah,
exactly. And we're continuing this. So we're still in need of customer reactions. So that we can really make this customer driven, because there's a very large spectrum of things we could do, but we want to make it tangible for the customers and partners using it. And from here, I think the next one is the repo. So let me go here. We have a GitHub repo for this from the Tech Exchange. So everyone who's interested in replicating the hack that we did at the time can do this with the materials that are officially released. So we will share them in the show notes of the YouTube session. And in here we have a nice walkthrough with how to do this, how to set this up, and like a really nice guide to really perform a attack, MFA bypass, stealing session cookies, and seeing how this then flows through ETD into Sentinel and how to work with this. There's a set of quests that I quickly will show. So you're setting up your attack lab environment, weaponizing, creating phishing links, analyzing this in ETD and Sentinel, and then even coming up with GenAI remediation steps to enrich the incidents in Sentinel with custom rules. Really nice scenario, can be run through when you have some skills in the space quite fast, 2 hours. That's what the participant managed. If you need a bit more ramp up, then I would probably lock in like a half day to really get exposed to this. Everything can be done with free Sentinel like credits. On the ETD side, there's also a trial, so then you can run through this.
And it is a really, really powerful hands-on workshop. I think the feedback that we got so far was absolutely amazing. That first of all, you realize some of the risks basically, or how important it is to do MFA. Just putting this out there, and then really understanding firsthand or seeing firsthand some of the risks there, and then also seeing the mitigations and seeing what Enterprise Threat Detection, what Sentinel really bring on the table to make this happen. And as you said, I would probably also say it's probably taking more than 2 hours, especially if you're not like in a guided setup like at the DSAG event. So if you do it at home, it probably takes a little longer, because obviously also you need to set up Enterprise Threat Detection. You need to set up Sentinel and everything. There's, I think, a lot of pre-work required. But I agree. I think it's definitely worth doing it. And again, the feedback that we've received so far is really, really positive.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, and it shows as well this holistic thing that you mentioned, Martin. Yeah, during that hack, someone hacked, let's say, the cookie of a session and logged on into the SAP system finally via kind of a, let's say, man in the middle scenario, as far as I understood it from my perspective. And at the very end, this all runs together into Sentinel. Yeah. So you get information from Entra, you get information from ETD, and ETD is then an additional signalizer that this attack arrived at the SAP or in the SAP system additionally, and then you can get that information out of that, and then putting it together again in Microsoft Sentinel, that's the most important additional value.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have here the deployment view, so to say, on what customers are doing. In the middle, you have the solution from ETD. And on the right, you see we have a connector, which then uses the public API, which is AO Data API, to retrieve alerts from ETD. Yeah, so that's like available for everyone, and our codeless connector platform has an official solution published by SAP using it. Yeah? And then you get the combination. So we'll see that in action in a bit. I think we have one more. Yeah, we go to demo now.
Demos is always good.
Always good, yes.
If they work.
Well, so we start from SE37. So I'll quickly reload. Yeah, so there's a jump target from Fiori, but here I will also be using SAP Web GUI. Yeah? So no matter from where the signal comes, it's the same. And on there's multiple scenarios. So we picked one pattern that is easy comprehensible for today's session. That can be easily shown. And one of them is remote function modules or function modules in general that are problematic. And users using this one to look at the user details, including the password hashes. That's likely a problem. Why would you do this on system? That's why it has a certain risk level and it gets flagged. So let's run this, and I will just check if the nice SAP star user, or no, let's do DDIC is available. If you get a hold of that one, you have freedom of roaming around. Yeah, so
you
we
need to
execute.
dehash the password first, but you have
Yeah.
time, yeah, because if you have the password hash and you know how the salting mechanism works, then there are possibilities to, yeah, okay, you take your days, but you have a time to do that and to prepare your attack later on. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a SHA-512, so we'll need some decent processing power to dehash this one. Yeah, but maybe the word book attack would give us something. Yeah?
That's the typical one. Yeah, you always have unsecure passwords which are long enough, but which are maybe something like really take a football club. Yeah, so I had such a session, and one of these hacker guys said, don't use football club names as passwords. It's not good.
Yeah. So
okay.
we have triggered this now. Yeah. So this went to the security audit log, and ETD picks it up eventually. Yeah. So let's sign in here again. So now we're moving to ETD, and Michael will show us a bit. So I will quickly log in here. So I'll stop sharing and show a share back.
So basically now you executed something that you were not supposed to do. And now what we want to see is that Enterprise Threat Detection picked this actually up and that we, that we see something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So maybe if we go first of all to that's all the tiles. That's the starting page of SAP Enterprise Threat Detection Cloud Edition. There are some functionalities for doing additional use cases, doing deep dive analysis and other things. We don't show them today. If there is an interest, we will give information on how to, in general, contact us later. Here, I just want to go to the Manage Patterns tile, which is there in the middle, exactly. Oops. You need to select the tenant first, sorry.
Yeah, I'll be there in a second.
Yeah, all good.
Manage
We have a special central one, yeah. Okay, and in these Managed Patterns tab, you see all the use cases that we provide from SAP side in order to make your landscape secure. It's patterns that are especially related maybe to S/4HANA. They are related to HANA database, to Java, to BTP, but there are as well rather generic ones like brute force attacks and other things. And
Michael,
that is, yes?
Sorry, and these patterns are all provided by SAP out of the box. So
they are provided, exactly.
Cool. Can I also create my own patterns there? If I'm saying for me, something other is very important. Oh, cool. So I get an out of the box long list from SAP, but I can also create my own patterns there.
Yeah, and so it's two possibilities. You can take them out of the box. In many cases, the customer finds out, oops, it's not exactly my use case, yeah, which is typical, yeah. So it might happen, yeah, because there are special policies in different companies, and what to do then, yeah. And then suddenly this is allowed in this system, although the pattern raises an alert, then it's a false positive alert. In order to avoid that, the customer can use our patterns or our use cases as templates as well. Copy them to an own namespace, adjust them as he wants, like filtering out that system, that user, that something, that IP address range, and then activate his own thing, deactivate the SAP one, and then it's done, and he can continue with the same pattern, but with exactly these things avoided. So we selected a special pattern now. Maybe you can enter just the name function in here, or search for function, because we did, Martin did that in a test environment. And in that test environment, you need to remove that. In that test environment, which is transaction SE37, this is not alerted via, for example, a business transaction log, and it's a rather new event from the SAP security audit log of the S/4HANA system, because it was found out, okay, if you are in the system and now call function modules that are critical, which even do not have an authorization check because they are really internal ones, not RFC enabled, nevertheless, you need a log that this function module was called, and underneath the ones that are even not remote enabled, there are critical ones. And these to be detected at all, and that only works with that new event. And what you see here is then how this function module or how this pattern looks like, how often this is executed. We use a certain chart that we developed or modeled already in our forensic laboratory and other things. And we can as well see how the criticality is found out, for example, via the credibility of attack detection or the success of the attack. Yeah. So the credibility is, it's about mainly, presumably about confidentiality. If you just do a reading of that thing, yeah, then you spy out data, and as this function module was running, it was successful, which is rather high risk at the very end. Okay.
Yeah, and I would like to call out some of the configurations here, because the thresholds and also the severity and the score. Where's the score?
The score comes out of the severity itself, so then it's a very high score. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are transmitted to Sentinel, enabling the SOC analyst to use them in our query language. Yeah? So you can then even create rules out of this, yeah, which we have done for a set of existing rules already. Yeah? So we can probably have a look at the managed alerts now. Yeah.
Exactly. So now we look at the real alerts, yeah, and whether we find such an alert of exactly that, because that was exactly what Martin did. And if we don't find it now directly, I see it already. It's here in the 10th line. Yeah, this one. This is exactly what you see, what we already got out of your direct activity. You see BAPI user get detail in transaction SE37 in system PM0 client 100, and there is a user pseudonym which is then presumably your user. For GDPR reasons we don't show it. If you create now an investigation and process that thing, then you see as well the real-time user as well as it is transferred via the API, because outside ETD you cannot do with you cannot do anything with that pseudonym. Yeah, that's clear. But in order to not pre-assess a person, we just pseudonymize these user IDs. Okay, you can even look into the events. Maybe you can click into the events. This exactly this link. There you see the single event that raised the alert later directly. Yeah, and there it is. It is a security audit log. You can click on that small arrow on the right side, Martin. Yeah, this one. And then you see, okay, it was this timestamp. It was the technical event code FUJ, yeah, which is the semantic event is executable run in test environment. We translate that to a semantic event, so it's easier understandable. Then it happened in PM0 client 100, which looks like it's a production system. We did not renew that, so we manipulated that a bit in order to have a productive system running, because then it's more critical if you do debugging, for example, in a scenario. Then you can scroll down a moment, and then you see as well maybe additional information on IP addresses and other things.
Oh, great.
And all of these are like shared with us, yeah. And since Sentinel for SAP understands all of these from our own first-party solution, this is like a natural booster, yeah, because we can directly make sense of the things that ETD shares with us.
Exactly. So you see exactly this alert. You have a few attributes there in transaction SE37. This user did that critical thing by calling that function module, but you get as well this triggering event, which contains all the other information which is not directly shown in the alert.
Great.
Okay. All right. So we can
move
add
on to
the demo for ETD for sure.
So we move over to Sentinel, yeah. Like I said, it's part of Unified Portal, yeah. So, but we have, the first source is Microsoft Sentinel, yeah? And in here we have the official data connector published by SAP, yeah, which uses this OData API to pull the alerts that we just saw on the Fiori Launchpad before. Yeah?
And
So
we see here a few other, sorry, just because I was just looking at this the other day. There's also the logserv integration, for example, with RISE. I can see there's the agentless connector that we have natively from Microsoft. And yeah, and one that we'll take a look now is the threat detection, the ETD integration.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you see those two are our first party solutions. They have Microsoft here, and those are provided by SAP. Yeah.
Cool.
So here's the deployment view. Yeah, you have a couple of prerequisites that you require. Yeah, so you need someone who has the ability to write to the underlying local Linux workspace, and yeah, you need to have the client ID and secret from ETD, which is a service key that you get there on business technology platform when you deploy the ETD Cloud Edition. And then in here you have some links to the docs, etc., and some notes on for which fields to look out for. And once you have identified these, you just click Add Account. You supply all the values from the service key. Yeah, like it's mentioned on the docs, you have some authentication to get tokens for the OData API, and then you have the actual OData API domain that you put in here.
Yeah.
And once that's done, you click Connect, and you're subscribed to ETD. That's it. Simple as that.
That's actually really nice. And then I think, I mean, I guess one of the reasons why it's so simple is also because it's Enterprise Threat Detection Cloud Edition. So it is running in the cloud. There are no firewalls. It's the authentication mechanism is always the same. So it's very easy to create a service key on BTP. And I guess you're using service keys there and get the client ID secrets. And cool, really, really nice. It looks like a very easy setup. Yeah.
Yeah, we are using BTP standard security with these service keys, as you said, which makes it really easy because it's commonly known. Yeah.
Yeah, the OR2 client credentials brand is the most adopted one across BTP services. Yeah? That's why also our connector uses this. But of course, if this evolves, the connector would also evolve. Yeah? Okay, so that's the connectivity. Now you're able to start running queries across this table. Yeah? And
the cool thing is, sorry, Martin, we are now in Sentinel. So for example, if and I didn't want to interrupt you there, but in my company, I'm using Sentinel for a lot of different applications, for Entra, for Office 365, maybe for a few other things, and I also have now SAP connected, which means when I look for issues, I can just open up Sentinel, the query. Or the log view basically, and then now I can see obviously all the other logs that I have, but now also I'm getting the logs from the SAP system.
Exactly, yeah. When we have the tables view here, and under here you see our first party log tables, for instance.
Cool.
But there would be everything here, everything that is connected. Yeah, think of all the SaaS connections you can think of. Yeah? It can be in other Defender products, etc. Yeah? And that's the reason why we have to unify this, because all the security products bring the signals, and you want to be able to go about this. Here, this is more like a investigative view, like threat hunting maybe. Yeah? So I'm running queries manually, and I'm thinking of selections and projections myself. Yeah? I'm just going to run this because it shows us how you would go about it. SAP gives us a normalized view, so it's already JSON, yeah, and makes it simpler for you to parse and access fields, for instance. Yeah, I'm looking at this user account acting, for instance. Yeah? And this way, I'm moving out of the nested structure, the named user, which makes it simpler for me to write analytic rules, for instance. Yeah? You will see here, there's my field. Yeah, so you see my user here. That was now pulled from the normalized events. Yeah? But you could also expand this in the view where you have this JSON here with all the details that we saw from the Fiori Launchpad before. Yeah? Okay. So now we move on to the analytic rules. There's a list on the ones that are pre-published, but we are looking for customer feedback here also, which ones are most interesting for your correlations. But I've pre-prepared one for the sensitive function module thing. This is basically a copy from our first party solution, which I've adapted towards the ETD source. So the knowledge and the capabilities are like comparable. Yeah? It also has this threshold that I spoke about and the score that we saw before, which you can now use to filter and make it simpler. So no matter what is configured on the ETD side, you can still influence here once you've received it. Yeah? And for instance, we only accept things that have a score of 50 at least. Everything below is considered false positive noise. Yeah? So this way you can tweak it. And you see again here, we parse out some of the fields that are relevant for us to consider, like, is this a production system or not? Which SID is this? So that when you produce a pop-up, for instance, on the Teams channel to the security people to act on this, they can immediately see, is it productive? Which SID is this? What user? To give them a sense on if they need to do something about it. So this is the rule, and you would then go about here adding the automations, like the user blocking. We have also standard flows for reactivating the audit log. Yeah? So this is like a prominent one that customers like to activate. Yeah. So now we can move to the incident view. So before we saw the analytic rule, which creates alerts and incidents that are enriched from ETD. And in here you see this is the one that was created. Yeah? So let's open the details. You see in here, this is coming from the ETD analytic rule. This is the source system, and it picked up the IP address from system, the host name, all the things that ETD was supplying to us. And now it's trying to correlate if there were similar incidents with the same attributes already, and giving the insight to SOC analysts what to do with this. And yeah, MITRE like technique mappings, those are also relevant to them to understand and pre-triage what to do about this. Yeah, and that's the first value you're getting out of both worlds being combined. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Over here, you see the text has been like enriched by the things that ETD gave us: production system, username, and what was executed, which function module. Not too bad,
nice. Huh? No, amazing, really cool. And as you said, I think what I think this is the scenario that you always talk about as well. That yes, in this case, the user access the BAPI user get detail, but maybe there was a lot of things that happened before, like if an attacker maybe they used some phishing emails to get the credentials of someone. And then they try to access the SAP system. They logged in from multiple VMs or whatever. And so a lot of things can happen before the attacker finally enters the SAP system. And with Sentinel here, with this integration now, we have the attack information from Exchange, from Entra, from whatever, and can combine this with the SAP side. And I think that gives this holistic view, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We went into Sentinel and the connector view and this individual incident because we wanted to see the details and do the mapping from what we saw in the Fiori Launchpad.
Yes. Yeah.
But of course, we are zooming out to this view where you have the full story. Yeah, what happens before, what during the actual SAP incident, and what happens afterwards. Do you have file downloads and where do they go?
Yeah.
Can I trace this back to a known attacker group from any of the the vigilant countries or whatever it is? Yeah. So and ETD is giving us this key signal. Yeah. Where the customer base that they already have and the people that prefer SAP products can profit from all of this.
Cool.
All right. So from there, as we already mentioned, how to get started. You just deploy the connector. It's an official solution already on Sentinel Marketplace. You can just go there, you can deploy, or you can take it from the Azure Marketplace, however you choose. Yeah? But we also offer from the co-authored blog post that is published under Arndt's account. We have listed there like a forms where you can reach out directly to us, supply a bit of information, and then we talk about your cloud edition ETD deployment plus Sentinel personally.
Yeah. Great. Perfect. So everything to get started immediately. Sounds good.
Yeah, of course we have to have roadmap items, that we we don't stop here, right? We have more attributes that we need for correlation. Yeah? We started with an initial set that is meaningful to get started and to start collecting evidence. But of course, we want to make this customer driven. Yeah? So not just throw data at it, but select the ones that are relevant, because there is the split, where the SAP security team works in products like ETD, and the SOC team focusing on Sentinel, and they don't have the same needs. And choosing how this evolves and what they require is key. So we come up with something, but we also want to make it customer driven. So
exactly. So in order to have an even better integration or a correlational attribute aspect in Sentinel, you need correlational attributes. And the question is, what is a correlational attribute? Typical ones are IP addresses, for example, MAC addresses, other things like that. And we discussed as well, what is a typical correlating attributes in Microsoft Sentinel. Very often it's the mail address, because the mail address plays related to authentication, identification, the major role in, as far as I understood, in Entra, which means if we can provide metadata from users, it's even more easy to correlate via any kind of additional information that runs together in Microsoft Sentinel. We found out that we can deliver such information as far as it is maintained, for sure. But if, for example, the data arrives already via Entra into our identification and access management and into the SAP systems, then these mail addresses are there as well, already at the right place. And then you can directly correlate the IP address with the user ID together with the mail address, which is a nice correlation. And by that, you can correlate other things via all these three, for example, which are identifiers.
Yeah, so still,
just as an example, working on that.
Exactly, yeah.
So basically ending with a call to action. You're looking for feedback to know what are the objects, what are the scenarios that should be supported going forward. I saw in the blog post there is a form, so I guess that's where anyone who's interested can provide feedback. Yeah, and then the product will evolve even further.
And the simplest one, maybe the last one I want to mention, analytic rules. We have one published as part of the solution from SAP, which takes each pattern that actually arrives as alert to be mapped one-to-one, meaning you have a full copy of all the patterns from ETD and then Sentinel available. But of course, that's like you have made no choice. You just took everything. And we want to know what to pick from this and where to double down, because the value of the threat protection in the unified view on this attack graph is usually in a smaller window. And what are the needs of both parties there?
Cool.
Right. Yeah.
Well, great. Michael, Martin, thank you so much for this demo. Again, anyone watching who has not yet done the hands-on workshop, I can highly recommend to go through this. If even better, if you have Enterprise Threat Detection, or if you got excited, then install it now and connect it to Sentinel. And yeah, so again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see each other again.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.